Hey, hello everyone. This is Maria from StealthEX, and today we're going to have an AMA with IOTeX, which is great. And Larry is actually here already because I cannot invite him to spaces, but fortunately he did it himself. Hey, Larry. Hello, can you hear me? I hope that you can. Okay, I'm just going to tweet the link out. Hi, everybody who's joining now. Thank you very much. You'll be actually, probably I should talk a little bit about the format that we're going to have. First, I'm going to ask some questions that we had on Twitter. So those are pre-selected questions from the community. Not going to be like too many of them, not to bore you with pre-selected questions. And after that, you'll be able to ask the questions live, which is, of course, way more interesting in case of an AMA. So yeah, that's how we're gonna do. Right now, I'm really sorry, Aries. Right now, the requests are paused. I will definitely press on tick after we are going to the live part. I'm really sorry for my voice also because I caught a cold and it's kind of like hoarse and not very pleasant. But probably it will pass during the time of the AMA. Yeah, hopefully that Larry can hear me because he's here.
Hey,
Hi.
I'm here.
Oh
How's it
yeah,
going?
hey. Hey. I was not sure that you were hearing me. It's really, really good. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Excited to do it. My voice is a little hoarse as well. We'll have
Colleagues.
a raspy conversation today.
Oh yeah, like I just caught a cold today. I hope it's not COVID because so many people right now have COVID in like my kind of mutual friends like area, and it's been really, really bad from this point of view. But I hope that it's not COVID because my colleagues told me yesterday and it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too. Everything's good on your end.
So, have you heard the format that we're gonna have, right?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome.
Starting with some pre-submitted questions and hopping over to the live questions.
Absolutely, that's right. And I'm just tweeting the link out so everybody can join in,
Great. Yeah, let's
which
give people a couple of minutes to dive in and we'll get started.
exactly. So, how things have been generally, because we had the interview with you, had an AMA quite some time ago, and like, how's life in general?
Oh, it's great. I think last time we chatted, a lot of things were in motion behind the scenes. I mean, there's always things kind of in motion behind the scenes, but we were able to release a lot of cool new products, especially around our hardware device called Pebble Tracker
Cool.
and
Actually, there were some
portal
questions about it.
that
Yeah.
complements it. hmm Yeah, so excited to dive into that. There's a lot of other ongoing initiatives working with new data. So hopefully some of the questions address those.
Yeah,
We'll
like
dive in a little bit.
there are quite some that were pre-selected about Pebble actually.
hmm
Like I just selected a few of those probably if it goes super well. Actually, are you kind of like restricted with time or can we just go with the flow?
I probably got until 45 past hour.
Okay, cool. Got it.
hmm
Okay, I tweeted the link out and everybody who wants to join in today, I believe they can join in now. So we get some
Perfect.
people who are joining. It's very cool. And probably we'll start with like kind of like general questions track first. And for people who are super into IOTeX, probably they know that already, but for those who are not, the question from Nadeem Khan 7869. I'm sorry, I can't really see on the screen, so if I confuse that, I'm really sorry. What is your ultimate goal for this year? Can you share some key development which you will be focusing on this year's roadmap?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Maybe before I dive into the question, I could provide a short overview of IOTeX for anyone that's
Yeah,
brand
sure,
new.
that will be super helpful.
Yeah, sure. So IOTeX, we are a blockchain and IoT platform. We got started back in 2017 and always had a vision to connect real world devices as well as real world data to blockchain applications. So we got started in 2017, spent the first couple years building out our layer one blockchain. And since then have been really layering on a lot of different IoT oriented middleware and other technologies to make this connection of the real world to the Web3 world possible. When I say IoT, I mean the Internet of Things. And it's this phenomenon that there's billions of devices around us capturing data about our daily lives, what we've been saying, what we see. And all of this information is currently owned by these big tech firms that really provide us a lot of great services, but own all of our data. And this is kind of a different time now, especially these days where, I just saw Lex Friedman tweet out yesterday, it's getting harder and harder to know who to trust and why to trust. And I think this is really the biggest challenge of our generation is to use technology to add more trust to the things we do every day. And what better way to start than to trust the way we interact with all these machines that perform services for us. So that's kind of the background of IoTeX. Yeah, we're really leading this Internet of Things and blockchain intersection these days, and we're really excited for it. Um, and yeah, I think going back to the question, just to reiterate the question, it was about what IoTeX is focused on throughout this year, which also requires.
Yeah, about this year roadmap and like the ultimate goal of yours.
Yeah, I think that also requires some context about what happened towards the end of last year and how that can kind of continues on to this year. So, one of the big things that we unveiled last year was kind of our first uh, hardware device. It's called Pebble Tracker that brings real world data to the blockchain and allows developers to use this real world data in a D app. And why is that important? What's the importance of bringing this real world data to the chain? This Pebble Tracker device does four different types of data: GPS, temperature, climate, other climate metrics, motion, and light. Actually, a little bit more than four metrics, but really gives you a 360 view of an asset, whether it's a person, a package, a dog, a vehicle, whatever's being tracked by the Pebble Tracker. And this really, is starting to create the first really interesting use cases where you can use this real world data as an input to a smart contract to do things like, if the temperature goes above a certain uh, threshold during shipment, then you can trigger payment to be automatically sent, kind of as a service level agreement. So we see this new design space where we're using real world data about a real world object or real world person as an input, trigger some type of incentives that are created using a smart contract. So really this year, I would say a big goal for us is to expand the types of real world data that we're going to be bringing to the blockchain, and that's going to open up a huge number of new types of things we can do, new types of use cases with blockchain. Really big into healthcare data lately, using proof of your activities, meaning, say that you ran 5 miles, or you took 10,000 steps, or you kept your resting heart rate one standard deviation above average. All these different ways to prove that you're being more active or prove that you're being more healthy can be used as an input to some type of smart contract that rewards you, incentivizes you to do these healthy activities. We're also really big into geolocation these days, proving where you went at a specific time in order to get some type of benefit, whether it's to claim an NFT that says, hey, I went to a specific event at a specific time, whether it's a concert or a crypto conference or even your friend's happy hour or birthday party, right? All of these things can be utilized with smart contracts in order to, yeah, deliver incentives based on what you do in the real world. So, um, yeah, long story short, I think right now there's a huge phenomenon with GameFi, play to earn, where people are doing things in the digital world to earn digital assets and digital reputation. This year is really going to be about IoTeX enabling people to do things in the real world to earn digital assets and digital reputation. So I think that's really the big focus for us, is just exploring this new design space, which we're very excited about.
So this is kind of like the mechanics that they had for Pokemon Go and stuff like this. So you move and you achieve something when you like see Pokemon, you can catch it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we actually have a new protocol that we're working on called POP protocols, proof of presence. And there's a lot,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of different things you can trigger once you prove your presence, right? Say that, hey, I proved that I am living in Los Angeles right now, or I am living in Venezuela right now, or I am living in any region, right? That type of information is very, very useful. You can deliver things like universal basic income to people that show that they're from a certain region continuously. You can deliver NFTs on a one-off basis for people that visit specific locations. You can create scavenger hunts where people need to visit multiple locations in a certain time frame, and all of this can be kind of done in a decentralized fashion, right? Permissionless in that sense. Anyone that visits these three locations without knowing who they are or how much money they spent or what their race or gender or sexual orientation is, it doesn't matter. It's just this blockchain address that is interacting with a smart contract and proving things that the smart contract is asking for. And smart contracts are unbiased, and so is the hardware that IOTeX combines with these smart contracts. So you can really have this cool design space, which is very, very open. And best part is it's easy to build on top of these things, right? If we give people the ability to use GPS data as an input to a smart contract, I think the creativity of developers is just going to take over. There's be a lot of use cases that we never even envisioned ourselves to be created. So.
Yeah, there can be many options actually. I have like a couple in my mind right now. Actually, I have one question that I'll try to squeeze in afterwards after the community asks their questions because obviously they are in favor
Mhm.
here. The next question will be about the hardware actually. It's from Road to Bitcoin and it says there are multiple IoT devices like UCAM and Pebble. And can we know what are the next IoT devices that you have a plan to include in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So just some background. I talked a little bit about Pebble. We have another device that actually built all the way back in the day in probably 2020. We won the CES Innovation Award in 2021 for UCAM. And it is a home security camera that's designed for everyday consumers. Um, and the difference between this security camera and others is that just like you own the Bitcoin in your wallet or the IOTeX in your wallet exclusively. We use the your keys, your funds model, except your keys, your data in the security camera. So you're the only one that owns all of the videos that come out. We do this by end-to-end encrypting all of the videos as they're captured using the user's private key. So they're only allowed to decrypt it if they hold the private key. And that's all done kind of in the system. So that was the first kind of device that we ever created. It doesn't stream data to the blockchain like Pebble Tracker does, but it did prove that for the first time we can use blockchain technology to ensure that the devices we own work for us exclusively. No one else owns the very sensitive videos of our uh, at-home moments. And this is where the next evolution with Pebble Tracker came. I mentioned it already that Pebble Tracker is an asset tracking device with GPS, temperature, humidity, air quality, motion, vibration, and light sensors. And a big evolution in this device was that we added a secure element also. The secure elements are also called trusted execution environments, and they're the same chip in your phone that does your Face ID, your fingerprints, uh, stores all of your passwords. So this is like an um, ultra secure area of your phone because of this secure element. And we added one to Pebble Tracker also, which is multiple purposes, right? Adding many layers of hardware security is one of them, but also the ability to sign this data that's being captured by Pebble Tracker for authenticity and verifiability. It's kind of like a ledger hardware wallet signing any transaction before you submit it to a smart contract. So that's also going to open up a lot of use cases that we already discussed. Geolocation is huge for us. But what's next? Our goals are, manyfold actually. The first one I really want to highlight is the fact that we really want to open up this concept of what we call machine fi to many, many new developers, right? And in the blockchain space, the most common type of developer is Solidity developers, right? People that code Ethereum compatible smart contracts and IOTeX compatible smart contracts. In the hardware space, by far the biggest crowd of developers and hackers utilize these open single board computers like Raspberry Pi, or also these more open source technologies like Arduino. So one huge initiative we have this year is to bring Raspberry Pi and Arduino software development kits (SDKs) to developers so that they can start to hack away at their own kind of devices. Right, with Raspberry Pis, you have this board. You can attach all sorts of sensors or connectivity modules or even secure elements to Raspberry Pi. And also Arduino is kind of like a toolkit for creating very simple if this then that type of logic, but with IoT devices. So this is a huge intersection between a big class of IoT developers and a big class of crypto developers. We really want to be bringing those together, and we have a lot of exciting ways to do that. The other exciting piece is, these devices I mentioned before, UCAM and Pebble Tracker, were devices that we meaning the IoTeX Foundation, have built in partnership with pretty big camera manufacturers and chip manufacturers. They're fully functioning products. Those that have them know that they work great already, but they're also kind of proofs of concept for other people to know that, hey, this is possible, right? I think in this blockchain and IoT space, seeing is believing. So, we have a lot of great projects that are going to be launching their own devices. I don't want to give too much away, but we've mentioned this in some presentations in the past. There's certain types of devices called OBD2 devices, and these are plugged into your car to grab telemetry data and information on how you drive, where you've driven. That's going to be a really interesting vertical or a use case for kind of these drive to earn concepts, right? Whether you're incentivizing people to drive more environmentally friendly routes, whether you're incentivizing people to drive less because you want them to take public transportation, or there's a lot of different use cases where how you drive in the real world, tied to open tokenomics and incentives. Insurance is the biggest space for this, but there's so many other opportunities for vehicle data. And the other thing I'll mention is healthcare data. We have a lot of projects. One called Health Blocks is probably launching soonest. They're launching their beta right now, grabbing data from all different types of healthcare wearables through Apple Health and Google Health and Samsung Health, and basically using this as a way to incentivize people to do more, right? Take more steps per day, burn more active calories per day. They'll be giving out these health tokens for anyone that does perform certain health challenges or take certain health surveys. And this health token can be utilized as kind of a currency in their network to order telehealth calls with medical professionals or get discounts on vitamins or other things that make you healthy as well, right? So earn tokens by being healthy, spend tokens to get more healthy. This is really how they close the loop on that. And just these two examples in healthcare and automotive, they are going to look exactly, not exactly, but very, very similar across any other vertical that we're pulling data from, right? Whether it's renewable energy, how do you incentivize people to generate more energy and spend the tokens that they got from generating energy on something that's also renewable, right? So these types of incentive loops and open hardware that proves things about people. I could ramble on this forever, but hopefully that gives you an idea of the different types of devices. We want to cover them all. I would say the selection criteria for us is anything that manages sensitive or valuable data, and better if it's both. So those are the verticals we're focusing on first.
Thank you so much. Actually, it's very interesting with like the rewarding system for health. At least it gives you some kind of like goal to strive to be healthy if
Exactly.
you earn the tokens for that. That's a cool dynamic
Yeah.
here. Actually, there is a question about like the way everything works here from Starliet,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna extend it. I hope that Starliet actually forgives me for that because it asks the question says, "Can you explain what a blockchain-powered camera is?" I believe it's about UCam, but can you actually talk about all these devices? Like, how do they connect to blockchain? How do they transfer this data?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So the tech stack of IoTeX is very unique, right? For the purpose of two things. One, we need to give devices an identity. And two, we have to trust the data that these devices send to the blockchain. These are prerequisites for trusting the data from any type of device, right? So at the very foundation, we have our layer one blockchain. It's used similarly to how other people use layer ones, right? To manage accounts, to send transactions between these accounts, to maintain global consensus across the network. So I won't dive too deep into that. But on top of this layer one blockchain, we've really focused on synchronizing these layer two protocols that, again, are very Internet of Things oriented. One of them is called Identity of Things. This is actually an IEEE standard that IoTeX started with participation from Bosch, Lenovo, Ericsson, Huawei, Lockheed Martin, and many other enterprises that are very interested in this decentralized identity for devices. So this is one piece of technology. We give an identity to a device, and this decentralized identity works in a way where these identities can have credentials attached to them. Who is your manufacturer? When's the last time this machine got serviced? What other certifications does this machine have? All these things are kind of open and decentralized. It's kind of like having NFTs, except these credentials are non-transferable. That's a really important distinction between NFTs and verifiable credentials. So all in all, this suite of identity technology is really important as far as who is this device that's sending data to my blockchain. It's kind of like if you had an oracle, but you didn't know who was on the other side of that oracle, right? Is it Coinbase delivering price data, or is it a fake person trying to be Coinbase? So this is where identity, are you who you say you are, is very, very important. The next piece that's really important is how do we bring data from trusted devices to the blockchain, especially when IoT devices don't really speak the same language as a blockchain, right? So this translation layer, this computational oracle of ours, is called TrueStream. It's very, very important to grab data directly from devices, translate it in a way that blockchains can understand, and basically index this data in a way that's easy for DApps to utilize and ingest. So these two important pillars of IoTex's tech stack are very unique. No one else is really working on this except for us, and we feel like this is the most complete way to grab data from um, all sorts of devices and bring them over to the blockchain. So yeah, as far as digging very deep into the full tech stack, suggest anyone that's curious to go to docs.iotex.io. We have a fully documented tech stack, um, and yeah, more documentation coming on how to hook up new devices and such to TrueStream and to Identity of Things.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I believe that will be that the next question will be the last question for the pre-selected part so we can give the community a little bit more time to ask their
Hmm.
questions. And I hope that's going to be an easy one. It's from Krieger in 1234, who's actually here. I see you. And it's about the hoodies. When will you guys finally release IOTX hoodies on Vitamart? I believe that I pronounced that correctly. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we've been talking. I know this has been a big request from the community, and we hear you. It's not easy to set up some of these these relationships. We've been talking to several vendors, but this is something we're going to be focusing on throughout the year. Is really how to increase the brand of IoTeX. Right, we're in the midst of hiring a lot of people. Not just to cover everyday work, but to launch new initiatives and teach us new things about things that we don't know already. So the hiring piece is big for us. As far as the swag store, we really want to put some great permanent kind of collection hoodies out there. It seems like everyone likes the design that I wear on pretty much all of my live streams. But we also want to hear, what designs the community has, right? Sourcing a lot of designs from the community. I was thinking that we would want to run some type of campaign where people can kind of earn different types of NFTs that they can redeem for certain hoodies or certain swag that's very limited. So we'll have one design, maybe print 50 shirts, and that's it. And the only way that you can get one is by earning an NFT through some type of competition in IoTeX. So we've been thinking about these things a lot. Um, yeah, it's tricky just to get this all set up due to the international shipments and there's a lot of intermediaries trying to take a really large cut of all the proceeds, but we'll probably just get this started sometime in Q2. So stay tuned for more. In addition to just IoTeX hoodies and swag, I mentioned some of these companies that we're working with. We're also gonna. This is kind of a sneak peek of what's gonna come, but we're also going to have entire IoTeX kind of marketplace, right, where people can purchase these devices. Not just not just Pebble Tracker, but any device that device manufacturer hooks up to the chain and is running some type of D app. We're going to host a marketplace for that kind of stuff. Also been thinking about Raspberry Pi covers that are IoTeX branded, things that are more outside of just the water bottle and t-shirt space. But yeah, this is just a great way for us to expand the brand, give people some cool products to play with. It's really inspiring just to see people posting their photos of Pebble Tracker on the internet. So hopefully we can get more goodies out to you guys soon.
Thank you so much. So that was the last question for the pre-selected part. And if somebody wants to ask the live ones, please request and I'm going to approve and we'll move on to the live part. So guys,
Awesome.
You hear? Yeah, please do press this request button. And in the meantime, probably I can ask something else just while we wait for everybody because
Yeah, for sure. Don't be shy,
it's
guys.
just
If you
not.
have a question, hit that request button on the bottom left. You can ask me anything about IoTeX, hopefully. Yeah, but you had a question. Would be curious to hear it.
Yeah. I'm just looking at all the great questions actually that were sent prior to. Okay, I'm just gonna ask my question then. I had it in my mind for a while reading about Pebble, and this like Apple AirTag thing. I use Apple for like so long, and this AirTag was pretty cool until I saw all these reviews that people like stalkers and like creepy people use it to
Yeah.
stalk on other people. How do you guys make sure that Pebble is not used for creepy stuff?
Yeah, this is hard because honestly, these tracker devices are so small these days, right? Like, it depends on which side of the equation you're talking about, right? Like, with Pebble Tracker, an important piece to know is that all the data that's created by Pebble Tracker is owned exclusively by you, right? But if you're the stalker and you're putting Pebble Tracker in someone's backpacks and stuff, then the same kind of still holds true, right? So it's really depending on how it's utilized. With AirTags, I also think is very creepy. Slide it into someone's pocket, their jacket pocket when they're leaving, and you can literally tell where they're going. Right? It's kind of a consequence of transparency. Is when transparency falls into the wrong hands, or visibility falls into the wrong hands, then that's actually negative, right? So I mean, I think this is just something to be conscious of. It's not just about GPS trackers, but we live in a more and more of a surveillance world today, right? All those Black Mirror episodes are starting to become true, where security cameras are covering, in at least in the United States, in like very high traffic areas, covering every single square inch with multiple angles, right? Who owns that information? Who knows that you're on the city block at 3 p.m. Maybe because you're ditching work and you're not supposed to be there, right? Who knows that your vehicle data gets in the wrong hands, or even your healthcare data gets in the wrong hands, right? There's a lot of crazy questions to consider about who owns our data. I think the biggest challenge right now is giving users ownership of their data versus centralized corporations is just something that never happened before. But there are a lot of, tangential problems like the one that you stated. How do we make sure that, creepy people aren't using this technology that's supposed to be user centric for their own purpose, right? The world now revolves around them. They have visibility into things that they're not supposed to be seeing. And hopefully the rule of law and all these kind of restraining order type of things come into play. But it's kind of just like tapping your phones or all these kind of things. Would you rather have a person do it or your government do it? I think it's like a very interesting question to consider. But yeah, yeah, the security, how you protect yourselves against other peers. This is also kind of like what's happening in the smart contract hacking space, right? You're not getting, your database of a centralized corporation isn't getting hacked. Maybe someone's directly trying to social engineer your private key out of a Telegram chat or a Discord chat. So you have all these new uh, attack vectors or attack landscape that I think only education is really going to help people solve. But if it's something as you know um, small as slipping an AirTag into someone's pocket, then I think that yeah, maybe there's a way to detect Bluetooth devices. I know there's a way to detect Bluetooth devices that are around you. But just one of those things. It's a good question. Just got to be careful with new technologies like this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually like I'm super worried because I had a friend who was like done this thing too, and it's so scary. But like she had the alert on her iPhone that there is some like unknown Bluetooth device that follows you around,
Hmm.
which is which is even more creepy to be
Yeah,
honest. But yeah, like let's just hope that people will be more kind of conscious and not do creepy stuff.
yeah.
I just hope that the world would get kinder. And on this like kind of positive note, do we have questions from the audience? I believe that when Larry asks it, it comes out more friendly. So please can you ask if people
I see
have
some
the
familiar
question?
names in here. Jump on stage, guys. Anything that you wanted to ask me. You guys asked me so many questions in the IOTeX group and trader chat on Telegram. Yeah, ask me anything up here if you want. Yeah, if
Don't
you
be
have any
shy,
other
guys.
questions, maybe you can shoot one
Yeah,
over.
I'm scrolling through all of the questions that we had here, and there was one that I liked, but I can't find it right now. Oh, we actually have a request. Well, I can't find the question.
Nice.
Hello. Okay, it's connecting. Hi, Eunice. You can speak now, actually,
Hi,
and
Eunice.
you're muted. Right? Hello. You can ask your question now. We can hear you. No, actually, no, we can't hear you because you're muted. Sorry for that.
Yes,
Hello.
yes.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Okay, I just read
You can
IoTeX.
speak now,
I just
I
text
believe.
update on Twitter. That I'm sorry for my bad English, but uh,
No, it's okay. You're doing great.
I just want to ask about uh, right
Oh,
now
there seems to be like some
keyword
connection
about
issue or something because we can hear you, but only
okay.
sometimes. There
Okay,
are like some
I want
separate
to
sounds.
ask right now keyword about metaverse is frequently used. Yeah, I just want to know what do you think about metaverse and the reason why IOTeX try to develop the project uh, metaverse too. That's it. That's my
Yeah,
question.
sounds good. So the question was, what do we think about the metaverse, and what direction, I guess, are we going to be building towards this new metaverse concept? Thanks for the question, Eunice. So, I think the
Oh,
metaverse is,
you did hear the question, right? I believe that's my connection issue then, right?
yeah, yeah. The question was
Oh,
just
okay,
about the
super.
metaverse
Yeah.
and what IOTX's view on that is. So, the metaverse, I think, is like many terms in the crypto space, definitely overused, right? Um, it's similar to DAOs. A lot of people are calling, Discord groups with gated access a DAO, right? It's not decentralized, it's not autonomous, it's just kind of an organization, right? There's a lot of great DAOs out there. Not trying to bash on the entire DAO space, but it's one of those words that's overused a lot. So is metaverse, right? I think there's a lot of different definitions of what the metaverse will be. There are virtual worlds that people, don't need VR headsets to plug into. You see a lot of big brands, like, a lot of fashion brands, a lot of sports teams setting up spaces in the metaverse that are just kind of like, 3D spaces that, people can one day advertise in, one day access different services in. That's all great. There's a second version of metaverse, which is kind of the centralized Facebook version of metaverse. And this is geared more towards kind of, interacting with peers, interacting with your friends, interacting with business contacts. I think they're really trying to digitize a lot of these, like the concept of a Zoom call or the concept of a board meeting or the concept of like a happy hour type of thing. And then finally, I think the long-term version of the metaverse is this kind of fully decentralized open metaverse where it doesn't have to mirror reality so much. It could be completely different types of world, right? Where you don't necessarily have to trust other people in the metaverse because the blockchain will help you to trust them by default. Kind of going back to those questions: Are you who you say you are, and are you offering what you say you're offering? Right. Um, IoTex's view on the metaverse is, it's going to be massive down the road, and I think the explanation of these three metaverses is important to think about in kind of how it evolves, right? The first stage is to mimic reality in the metaverse, right? And for this kind of step, devices that are gathering data about our reality are going to be the perfect ways to mirror this reality to the metaverse, right? If we wanted to simulate current weather patterns in the real world to some type of metaverse world, then we can grab that data directly from a weather station, and that can detail exactly how the metaverse will look, right? Is it sunny today? Is it cloudy today? Is it windy today? Is it not? And that can be directly mirrored over to the metaverse. Other things that can be mirrored are your personal achievements, right? If you work out in the real world, then maybe your metaverse character can get stronger as well or more healthy, right? So I think this is a really interesting design space where connecting the real world with the metaverse, we can use devices as proofs of things about the real world or proofs about real people and mirror that over, right? For the second phase, where it's more peer-to-peer and business oriented, I think the way that blockchain is going to help that a lot is by adding security and trust to those interactions, right? Um, if you have a private room in the metaverse doing a board meeting or something like that, the worst thing that can happen is just like in a Zoom call, some random person comes in and disrupts your meeting. Probably also in the real world, right? That's the last thing you would want to have is someone jumping into your meeting. So adding some security and verifiability through blockchain is going to be very important. And for the long distant future, honestly, the metaverse, in my opinion, is going to be built out first by these big centralized companies. But in the long run, it will be decentralized over time, or at least the components that need to matter will be decentralized over time. And I think that the concept of an open metaverse, where anyone can build anything and anyone can join different environments, that's the whole premise of full control to users, right? Where these corporations are going to be service providers to users one day, pure service providers, nothing else, right? And we're going to pay them for their services and nothing else. So it's really flipping the entire model of how these Web 2 applications work today, but doing it in a much more open fashion with the metaverse. So we think a lot about this. A lot of projects of ours are also thinking about this, where their devices. There's a very big popular concept in the Internet of Things space called a digital twin. It's kind of, you have a large piece of machinery. You're going to run a lot of simulations and emulations in the digital space to figure out how does uh, uh, adding this component change the performance of my airplane, right? They'll simulate or emulate that entire airplane, and it's kind of like an experiment, right? You toggle this metric up or down, and you see what happens to the entire system. So this concept is already very metaversy. Yeah, we have a head start in that regard. A lot of the enterprises we talk to already understand this concept of digital twins. So it's really just about bringing them into the opportunity space about, yeah, how their data can be utilized in the metaverse. So yeah, that's my answer. Hopefully that covered what you were asking about. But yeah, mirroring reality to the metaverse is where we're going to start.
Thank you
Thank
very,
you.
very much for the question as well. You're saying something because I cannot hear you. You
Hmm.
Okay, thank you, Larry and host. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right,
Awesome.
should we move on to the next question, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, is there somebody else who actually there was somebody who wanted to ask a question and was there in the request list, but then they got shy and decided to remove themselves from there. Oh my God, it's something wrong that I did, I guess. But yeah, are there any more people who want to ask questions? We have some time. We can answer some more.
Did you have another pre-answered one? Maybe we can jump to first.
Yeah, sure. I just had the list in
Cool.
here, and there is one that is asking about companies actually, because I believe that currently you have quite some partnerships with like large companies, and there
Yeah.
was Timothy Payne who was asking whether you are only focused on working with large companies, and do you have any limitation or like restriction for working with smaller ones?
That's a good question. That's a good question. No, we're not only working with large companies. We do work with large companies. I think this warrants a little bit of background on the different types of opportunities that blockchain and IoT presents, right? There's kind of two ways to think about blockchain and IoT. One is how will blockchain impact the current Internet of Things, meaning the existing legacy systems, and the other is how will the Internet of Things impact blockchain. And I think for those two types of directions, there's different types of companies or stakeholders that we address, right? How does blockchain impact the Internet of Things is a very long-term question, right? We're talking about gutting legacy systems in replacement of new tech stacks that are blockchain-based. And the reality is this stuff takes a very long time, right? People aren't going to be uh, disrupting their current business models or destroying their entire tech stacks just to chase an opportunity. It will happen in parallel. So a lot of this is about standardization, creating frameworks that enterprises can understand, and introducing blockchain to IoT devices as point solutions versus end-to-end solutions to start. Um, so, the answer of why blockchain can impact the Internet of Things is very obvious. The Internet of Things, all these billions of devices out there, are plagued by security, privacy, and interoperability issues, which blockchain has natively. It's just how do we fit them into existing systems before we completely replace them? That's the challenge. And this is where we work with the largest companies in the world on standardizing identity, standardizing data formats. I mentioned, Bosch, Lenovo, Lockheed, Huawei, Ericsson, all of these companies that are working on the identity piece. We're also working with a lot of big device manufacturers that cannot be named right now that are interested in understanding how blockchain can make their current businesses and devices more secure, right? So that's one area. The other area that I think is more near term and honestly more interesting for now is how the Internet of Things is going to impact blockchain, not the other way around, right? So the Internet of Things, all these billions of devices, is a brand new data source for blockchains and a brand new design space for DApp developers. And this is where the small businesses really come in, right? The ones that sell devices on Amazon and are in a super saturated and competitive space, right? How do they gain a competitive advantage? Well, I think adding some type of blockchain-based incentive system to their existing products, which are much more flexible than a giant enterprise product that already has thousands of customers and can't be changed, right? If you have, this is where the startups and things come in, the real innovators and disruptors. Rather than doing the centralized approach of let me grab your health data and let me help you visualize it. Now these startups are giving people the opportunity to own their health data and to monetize it in which ways that they want to, right? Something that a traditional company or a big company wouldn't be able to do or wouldn't be ready to do yet, right? So, I think down the road, you're going to see a lot of big companies approach the blockchain space through this IoT to blockchain model. But for now, a lot of the really, really big companies that we work with are more on research and more on these open enterprise consortiums that help to standardize what this is going to look like before it's implemented. But the Web3 plus IoT design space is much more fast moving. So yeah, IoTeX, we partner with all different types of companies, from large to small to individuals to, some of the biggest companies in the world. So yeah, that's kind of the overview.
Thank you so much. I actually believe that we're running out of space, out of time, not out of space, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
you said it's yeah. So there's probably like just a little time to kind of wrap it up with the last question
for
that
sure.
is from Claudia, who probably wants to create something on IoTeX
Awesome.
and how to get started and can find and one can find the guides and learning materials related to IoTeX and what are the kind of like uh Jesus, I'm not good with pronouncing words today. What does a person need to get started with IoTeX?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. So I think the best place to get started is to join two spaces of ours. One is to check out docs.iotex.io, DOCS at iotex.io, .iotex.io. This place is where you're going to find all of the documentation related to how to get started building a D app, setting up all the different RPC endpoints, setting up a full node. It has all the information you're going to want as if you want to build on top of IoTeX. The other thing is if you wanted to contribute to the IoTeX protocol, meaning the blockchain's code base, we have a GitHub, github.com/IoTeX project. It has all of our open source repositories, and it's really exciting to see a lot of new contributors that are submitting pull requests and things just to build out the underlying blockchain, not necessarily build on top of the blockchain. So those are two opportunities as far as how to contribute some code and development activity. And the place that you'll find most of the IoTeX developers is on our Discord. That's going to be at iotex.io/dev Discord. And this is where Simone and Jeremy and some of our other developer relation managers are going to be sitting and very, very open to answering your questions. So if you're interested in building with Pebble Tracker, building with Raspberry Pi or Arduino, or just building something custom using our SDKs for DApps and other things, that's the place where you'll find the most information. But yeah, stay subscribed to our channels, on Twitter, on Reddit, on Telegram, on Discord, and every other platform in the world, it seems like these days. Um, but yeah, excited to welcome more builders that see it the same vision that we do.
Thank you so much, Larry. And I believe that was it. Do you want to wrap up with kind of like some cheering words for everybody who was here with us today?
Sure, I do have one thing to plug. Yeah, we are. Last week we started an initiative with Unchained Fund to raise some funds for war-impacted civilians. So it's a great initiative. We're going to be matching all donations, and anyone that donates over 500 IOTEX will get a free commemorative NFT. So we have some more information on our Twitter. Head over there and yeah, please donate. Outside of that, we have some really cool announcements coming up. We're going to be in Dubai starting this Friday for about a couple weeks, and then we're going to be at BTC Miami. We're going to have a lot of keynotes and panel presentations. We'll be unveiling some new stuff, everything from I don't want to give too much away, but everything from those geolocation use cases that we were mentioning to a new wallet that we've been working very, very hard on, and some other goodies that you'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, stay tuned. I know the market is in a little bit of a depressing state right now. People are pushing the panic button due to all these macro events going on. But yeah, the work continues, and we're just very focused on our mission. So stay with us, and yeah, follow our channels. Get in touch with me if you have any other questions. But as always, thanks so much for hosting this. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for everybody who joined us today and for all the questions, the pre-selected ones, the live ones. And of course, you'll be able to listen back because we have recorded this and I'm going to post the link a little bit later. And StealthEX is always happy to support IOTX for swaps. So if you ever need instant swaps for IOTX, you know where to go. So thank you
Awesome.
very much. I hope you all have a lovely rest of the day, no matter where you are. And yeah, I believe that would be it.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
See you next time. Bye.